Welcome back to the Talking Hedge. I'm Josh Kincaid, and this is your Cannabis Business Podcast. Today, we're going to be talking about Cannabis Tech. On the line with us is Dan Kimmis, our CBD correspondent with Good CBD Products.
Oh, I love technology, Chronic. I love it a lot.
Cannabis Tech is one of the top 3 investment vehicles for the first half of 2019. It was multi-state operators, cannabis technology, and then followed by another real estate investment trust play on cannabis lounges. But creeping into the investment vehicle for the second half of 2019 is cultivation has been taken off. We saw that with TJ's Organics down in Oregon, phenomenal flower. They also have rec shops. I was unaware of that before, so it kind of makes sense that they got a $12 million valuation because of the retail rec shop on top of owning some of the best flower that I've seen consistently. But there's a business PR newswire that came out talking about a cannabis big data firm acquiring Zephyr, like the Nielsen of cannabis, similar to probably Headset. So New Frontier is launching a joint marketing technology in order to kind of bring big data into the cannabis space. So I'm really looking forward to that. New Frontier data is like BDS Analytics or Headset. They aggregate a lot of data. We utilize that very much on the Talking Hedge.
I love data, and this is the thing, right, is it would make sense ultimately when you look at other businesses, right? If you look at a company that makes like toothpaste, or you look at a company that's making like, any other thing that a lot of consumers are buying, how they drive a lot of their business is through, significant data input, big data. It's about time that our cannabis brothers be able to do the same thing.
Absolutely. Hopefully they can bring some data to Washington State. Our system's been broken for 2 years now. This month marks the 24th consecutive month that we haven't had access to data in Washington State. So hopefully Zephyr and New Frontier data can bring that to us. This article goes on to say, quote, Zephyr has applied for cutting edge AI technology and proprietary algorithms applicable beyond the cannabis space to this new consumer segment, helping CPG and cannabis enterprise discover their best targets across a fast growing cannabis consumer base. New Frontier Data has been the go-to cannabis market analytics firm trusted by the global investment community since 2014. And today, as mature market entrants move beyond examining investment risk and opportunities to connecting with the cannabis consumer, Zephyr enables New Frontier Data to expand and deepen their data services to support the evolving cannabis data needs.
AI, it's everywhere these days. We deal with a bunch of different analysts, and they all have their different favorite AI-based tool sets. It's pretty funny.
We have a segment on the Talking Hedge where we have an AI-based algorithm that has predictive analytics. We've set up a 19-company stock portfolio index with Rohit Srivastava, Chief Investment Officer and Portfolio Manager with Saroj and Banu Fund. So a lot of people are getting into this space. We're seeing early Facebook investors getting into marijuana technology. They're going to be debuting on the NASDAQ, publicly traded. And so money is definitely being thrown around. There's a TechCrunch article about the budding industry of cannabis tech, talking about, maybe nanotechnology getting into edibles and beverages to bring out a quicker onset so that you don't necessarily overdose. Even though it's stronger, it happens, the onset is faster. And so there is some technology involved with edibles, but data is going to be huge, right? So New Frontier paid $10 million for this research firm in Washington, D.C. to focus on the cannabis industry. Zephyr said that data can help cannabis business owners, including where their local ideal customers are located, which products or experiences that their customers prefer, the average individual price of products being sold, what people are saying about those products, where dispensaries are located and how popular they are, and where cannabis doctors are and how popular they are. So basically getting you some granular data to kind of help you figure out inventory or flavor preferences, just kind of figure out your business model.
That's funny, like personally, Maui Wowie, okay, that's my strain. That strain and I, for whatever reason, we just go together well, okay? And, most of the time, like in Washington, if you pull up the website locator and you start hunting for your favorite strain, it's based on data that was input weeks ago, and gosh, this store isn't in that particular database and all of this stuff. So as a consumer, right, actually finding what I want when I want it seems like a simple thing in most industries. In the cannabis space, I mean, yeah, if I want weed, okay, I can find that, okay? But geez, I want my medicine, that's a whole nother story. And that's where hopefully, you know, if you get all the data rolling with the AI and all of this stuff, you could actually see a space in the future where your browser tells you, yeah, it's down the street on 3rd Avenue, and they're going to run out in 15 days. You better go buy extra.
There's a lot of interest in cannabis tech from the US up into Canada. And there's a conference later this month up in Toronto about cannabis technology. But not just Toronto, not just Canada. There's a Seattle-based cannabis technology going public in Canada. I've never met this individual, but Wikileaf CEO and founder Dan Nelson launched a cannabis tech company back in 2014 and plans to take the company public in Canada later on this month. So regardless of what it is, whether it's a Seattle-based Wikileaf or New Frontier Data, definitely trying to get that data go public, scale up, and then probably sell that data back to the customers. For example, the Yahoo Finance article about how weed tech companies are letting smokers control their high. There's a GoFire vaporizer that me and you saw down in Oregon recently at a hemp conference. And this particular vaporizer is interesting because it allows you to use data. So the app will tell you how long you're burning. If you only want 5 milligrams, it will stop. It's accurate, more accurate than some other ones. And so it's definitely becoming more of a microdose smart reader, if you will. And so this technology is huge, primarily in Israel, I would say, where it's more clinically based for the medical market, and in Europe, like Germany. But regardless, people who really want to know what they're smoking, let's say, Dan, you're utilizing one of these, flavored strains that you really like, and I want that same experience. I can actually go into your profile and download that so that I can have that same type of experience. So you can kind of share that as well. If you don't really know what you're doing, you can start somewhere. So that, again, data utilizing apps and devices is going to be huge.
I talked to them at length. It was interesting. Their booth was, this was a hemp show, okay? And their booth was hopping, man. It was kooky. And then the other thing about it that was interesting is, they're an example of one of these companies that essentially the capital movers get a little bit buzzy about, right? Because again, so far it sounds okay. They need a complete vetting. I haven't done that yet, but ultimately, again, technology is a sweet space in the investment side, big time.
And Dr. Ethan Russo, actually, he's a local guy, phenomenal, brilliant doctor. And he said, quote, "I see this as a welcome development and want to see more data shows that this is a practical technology." So the fact that he even weighed in on this is pretty amazing. He's kind of an introvert, very smart, very specific about who he talks to and what he's saying. But nonetheless, I mean, it just kind of goes to show that this GoFire has some technology worth talking about. And so whether it's doctors or the individuals on the streets, it's definitely hitting the Main Street consumers. This other article from Yahoo Finance talks about veterans evolving the vaporizers with the launch of AgriCraft. It's a clean vaporizer, so similar to that other product. These guys just got a $33 million debut with a, quote, clean vaporizer, pods, and software based out of Montreal. Tech veterans joined forces with top cannabis and consumer industry investors to create AgriCraft. The article goes on to say, quote, "A technology company on a mission to clean up vaporization. Founded in 2018, AgriCraft has raised upwards of $33 million in 2 rounds while remaining in stealth. The latest round was led by Gotham Green Partners and looking to do something very, very similar with an app." Yeah,
I like it. Remaining in stealth. It's funny. Again, it runs right back to, it's not too often that you find yourself where it's what you know, it's who you know. It's who you know. If you can remain in stealth and go raise $33 million, you got some people brother.
Absolutely. And I think this is a huge part of the cannabis tech play, is to get accurate dosing. A lot of people want that similar experience, just kind of like Starbucks, whether you like that consistently burnt flavored coffee or not. people know what they're getting every time. And that's really what this data is going into with the technology, is to give you the same experience over and over again. And that's why a lot of money is being thrown at it. And like I said, the second half of 2019 is all about cultivation, where the first half was about multi-state operators and data, with a subset of that data being accurate dosing. So I think there's going to be a huge push continuing into 2019 and 2020, but you're going to have to come back to the Talking Hedge to find out. So with that, we're going to roll this one up. I'm Josh Kincaid. This is the Talking Hedge. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, or don't, and I'm out.